Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Foreign Fridays on Monday's Mania, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, Thomas.
Or just a
So,
glorious day.
just any day we're doing horse racing, I suppose, is glorious. Well, provided that, we don't get a bad ride from Ruben Silvera on a 2-5 favorite in the second to last race. But other than that, yeah, it's all right, man. But
The name of the game.
sometimes I
Anything
wonder.
can happen, usually does.
Well, sometimes I really wonder, like when you have a horse on paper that looks too good to be true, sometimes it is too good to be true, and you should always bet against it. But, and I think the other jockeys know because they clearly bounced them out, squared them, and cut them off and made them run wide the entire way around the track. So, a lot of that stuff depends, I guess, on what happens once the gates open. And if you don't get to where you want to be on the track, the other jockeys aren't going to give you no quarter. So, well,
They're there to win too. So
yeah, they want to get a check, right? They got to pay their mortgages
they got to
too.
pay the bills. So may not help us pay our bills, but that's the way it goes.
So we're going to go over to Glorious Goodwood to try to pay some bills this weekend and this week, its entirety. So Tom and I will be here tonight, obviously. Tomorrow we'll start a half an hour earlier, so 6 o'clock Eastern. Same for Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll slide right back into our regular spot for Foreign Fridays at 1 p.m. Before we get rolling on that, Tom, you enjoy your vacation?
I did. Nice
Fantastic.
time, good food, and enjoyed the time away, and came back and had to deal with other stuff. So
life, right?
It's life.
Yes, indeed. All right, so tell us about the Glorious Goodwood, Tom. What's the deal with that?
What's the deal with that? It's like all these festival racing. This is another one of the festivals. Like it's not quite the Royal Ascot level, but it's certainly some of the finest racing we will see at this point. We have usually tracks a really interesting group. The one strange race on this card for Tuesday is they're running an 18-field 2-year-old maiden race, which is very unusual for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with some non-starter ones that have never started. So that's a little, but if you want to tackle that one, go for it.
Well, speaking of tackle it, we'll put our picks up on the on horseracingtoday.net when we're done. They'll be up there before the races tomorrow morning. Tom will have picks for every race, commentary for the races that we're going to talk about today, which are races 2, 3, and 4 on the Tuesday card. So if you're watching it tonight, this will be Tuesday, not Monday night. But on Monday night, if you like to punt baseball, let's use some of their terminology. Picks with the Professor. Tonight, their play is the Mariners at -139. You can get all of the picks from the Professor on his YouTube channel. There is a link in the description here at YouTube. Of course, make sure you bookmark the picks of Picks with the Professor, play of the day, so that you can catch it every single day. All right, Tom, let's look at the track layout at Glorious Goodwood. In a way, I don't know how you describe this one, Tom. Give me
very unique. I sent you a JPEG of this too. It'll show where the races by name where they start. So that we may want to put that up for tomorrow because that'll be helpful.
Okay, for sure.
Like for instance, the 2-mile race will be starting on the curve.
Right here?
Yeah. Well, where 6 furlongs is a straightaway.
Over here.
7 furlongs isn't.
Up here.
It's also a curve.
Mm-hmm.
So you go up and around and over and under, and it's
and loop and everything else.
And it's like some of the other tracks around there. They're all got their own little quirks, and there are horses, of course, for courses, and there are horses that like this kind of track, and there are ones that not so much.
Yes, this one's a bit quirky for certain. That's, I think, unquestionable. Not as, what was the one that's shaped like an L? I forget right now, but there's the L-shaped track. I think that's
Newmarket.
Yeah, that's the most odd shaped one. But this is close, though, because it's sort of an L, but it's got a loop around it. Maybe, I don't know. It's like a cursive L that's sideways. I don't know. It's an italic cursive L. How about that?
Okay.
All right. The first race we're going to kick off with is race number 2, as I mentioned. This one is the Japan Racing Association Vintage Stakes. It's a Group two. I think these are all 2-year-olds, if I remember. The
Yes.
track is going to be listed as good. Is that right?
Yep. That's what last time I heard. So they're definitely watering.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that helps or hurts it depends on the horse.
If you look here at the weather forecast, it looks like for the entirety of the week, they're expecting nice weather over there. 22 degrees Celsius. Tom, quick, break out the calculator. What is that in Fahrenheit?
70s.
All right, that's good. I can go with that. 70s for sure.
And,
So,
well, at least we don't have the heat that they've been having where it's been 40 Celsius. So that's over 100.
yeah, it's a bit on the toasty side. Well, we got the same sort of weather here. It was hot last week. It's cooled off today. So 7 furlongs. This one's going to kick off at approximately 9:25 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So right as you're getting up or middle of your workday on the East Coast out by Terry, it'll be the early part of the day. Thomas, 7 furlongs. We talk a little bit about where that race would start, but it's going to be over here. Mm-hmm. It's going to come. Which turn are they going to go through? Do you know? Did they go through this turn or this turn?
No, the farther one.
This one here? Yeah. Okay, so 7 furlongs, they come down, kind of bend in a little bit, bend out a little bit of a tight turn there, and find their way home. From your experience watching these Goodwood races, where do you want your horse to be?
Well, traditionally, the higher draws are just at a big disadvantage. But I've heard some commentary that says that at the beginning of the races, so Tuesday, Wednesday, the higher draws are not as a big a disadvantage as later in the week, which is, I think, an interesting observation. And so I tried to stay away from horses on the outside, but I do have 1 or 2 that are going to have posts, going to have some challenges to get position, especially one of the speedsters. Mm-hmm. This 2-year-old race definitely got the speedsters. So we've got a few closers, but it'll be interesting to see position-wise where you want to sit with these.
I count 6 horses that'll either pressure for the lead or try to get the lead out of 9. Do you put that count the same?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
So what do you think? Who's going to win the 2-year-old race here?
My top choice is going to be number 5, Galeron. Has draw 3. And it's got 2 starts and a win. Mm-hmm. One last out in a short field at Goodwood, going 6 furlongs. Of course, that's the straightaway. He was last of this small field, 4 horses. He's a couple lengths back. He made up ground and really looked very good doing it. His first race, really, he didn't do very well at the starting gate, and really that race was over at that point. Being a 2-year-old and getting 2 races over this track is probably not a bad thing. It'll be interesting to see, of course, how they handle the turn, because most of these horses have either never seen that or whatever, except for maybe at Chester where a couple of them run. Number 6, Holloway Boy is number 4 draw is my next choice. He's 1 for 1. He was a maiden, won against a field of more experienced 2-year-olds. Went off at 40-1 at Royal Ascot and won by a length. You're not going to get 40-1 today.
Yeah, maybe 1/20th of that. Looking at the odds, right?
And he closed like a very good horse. Now the question is, was that a very impressive run in a one-off, or is he going to repeat? 2-year-olds, who knows? I'm going to go. At least he's going to hit the board. I don't think he's going to win. And I'll take a bit of a stab at this one. Number 9. It's Mysterious Night, which has draw 7. It's got 3 starts, a win, a second, and a third. Its win was in the second start. It was in a novice race. They went 6.5 furlongs, and he won by a length and a half. He was a huge favorite in that race. But I'm going to preface that by saying the time was a little slow. He tried Group 2 company next out, and he ran a third, and he was 3 1/4 lengths behind. To me, that was a shorter race. I think this is based on breeding. He's going to want longer. I even think 7 may be too short. but I think he's good. I think he's proved that he can run, and he's proved that he can win. And I think this is a good spot to see what they've got, and that's why I think they've dropped it in. And I don't think it hurts to have Charlie Appleby training and William Buick on top.
Does not hurt at all. Funny thing is, I have 4 picks because I get an extra pick.
You get
the host, but we have this. We have the same 3 picks, but exactly upside down. I'm going to start off with Mysterious Night because you mentioned the 2 races back, the time was kind of slow, but then this next race out, that Group 2 race, his time was considerably faster, a lot faster than the previous 6 furlong that he ran. So I know different tracks, probably different turns and so forth, but still shaving off about 6 seconds, no matter how the track is oddly shaped, is, I think, a significant change in time. 6 horse, Holloway Boy, is my second choice in here. As you mentioned, Tom, won that opener at Ascot. Seems like a good place to get started. Was 40-1. I do think the horse is going to come from off the pace. We'll see if it can do it again. Obviously, the odds maker likes that one, making it the morning line favorite. We'll see if it remains there as the race comes near. One horse that I have that you don't have, Tom, is the number 4 horse, is my third choice. Dornoch Castle. I probably mispronounced that. All apologies to the Dornoch Castle inhabitants. This one's undefeated in 2, Tom, proven it can run at 7 furlongs. And last time out, it's won both of them at 7 furlongs, both of them kind of easily. And last time it ran, Tom, I don't know, it's like a 17 cents favor, so 17 cents on the dollar. So you had to bet $1 to win 17. Obviously, the bettors that day at Eyre thought the horse was a really good contender. And your first pick is my last pick, Galeron, the 5 horse. As you mentioned, this horse does have a run over the Goodwood track. That was last time out, well, 2 of them actually. Misfired on the first one on the debut, came back as the $2 choice and won that race running away. Did so by improving its fractions by about 3 seconds, which again, I like to see a horse do that, especially at the same track. So he can handle Goodwood. I love to see the fact that the horse improved its fractions, put it all together, and I like the 9, the 6, the 4, and the 5. Exactly upside down from Tom.
Well, almost.
Well, I had to throw
because you get a 4th. Because you get a 4th pick.
Yes, because I get a 4th. It's the benefits of clicking all the buttons.
Yeah. One note on that race is the Johnsons generally do pretty well at Glorious Goodwood. So I don't have either. You've got one of the horses. I don't have either of them. But I would, be very weary of that because it could be very interesting.
Charles likes Dark 30, the 2 horse, in that race number 2 at 8-1 morning line. The wonderful thing about 2-year-olds is if you had, how many horses in that race? 9 of them?
Yeah.
9 different people picked 9 different horses. Each one of them would probably have an equal chance of being right. 2-year-olds can come out. First time out, they might look like they're going to be world beaters. The second time out looks like, maybe we ought to stick them in the barn for good. All right, race number 3 on the card tomorrow at Glorious Goodwood is the Lennox Stakes, the Whirlpool Lennox Stakes, Group 2, Class 1, 3-year-olds and up. Again, we're going to run at 7 furlongs. This race is going to kick off at approximately 10 a.m. Eastern. Set your watch to it because we know that they're timely in England. 7 furlongs, just like the last race, is going to start. Wrong button over here. That's not like the last race. Going to start up over here. Going to come down here, this little bend in, a little bend out, a little bit of a sharp turn to the left, and then run their way home to the circular stop sign at the end. Tom, again, in this race, I think this one race stacks up a little bit different than the last one, where we had 2/3 of the field that wanted to get towards the front. In this spot, I have kind of an equal balance. I have 3 that definitely want to be in the front, 3 that are definitely going to be in the back, and I have 4 that are going to be right down the middle. So it is a symmetrical race. What do you think?
I had 2 on top to go after the lead. But I only really saw 1 as being a dead closer. With that, I took number 11, Sandrum, as my top choice. She has draw 7. She has 8 starts. She has 3 wins, 1 second, and 2/3. Our last out was a third at Newmarket and a Group 1 race, and it was restricted to fillies. The best way to describe that race that she ran is that she beat everybody else because the top two were just in their own world, so to speak, in terms of the running. Yeah, she's never won at a mile. But she's also never run at 7 furlongs, which I think this is really curious that they're dropping her down in distance. She is a Group 2 winner when she was 2, and she's going to get weight. She's got a good draw, and this could be a nice spot to pick up a few bucks because I think you'll get a price.
At 12-1 right now, yeah, absolutely. But trending down, started at 14-1, went up to 16-1, back to 14-1. Now at 12-1. So maybe taking in a little bit of action after Tom's done, probably 10-1, 9-1.
I hope not. I'd like to get something out of that one. With that, I took number 5, Pogo. Let's draw 4. It's my next choice. A little bit different scenario here because he's raced 33 times, has 7 wins, 5 seconds, and 5 thirds. He's won his last 2 races. They're at 7, both at 7 furlongs, and one was in the group company, Group 3. And it's interesting. He didn't do much of the end of the season last year, but now he's been right on top. Now with this guy, he is a front runner, and he's going to want the lead. The question is he going to have enough energy left to finish? And I'm thinking he's good enough to get in the money. I don't think he's going to win. This is a step up for him, but he has placed against Group 2 types before, so that's where I'm going to put him. My final choice is going to be number 2. Ken Ross has draw 5, has 16 starts, 4 wins, and 1 third. Well, he's dropping from a Group 1 race at Royal Ascot. He ran 8th at big odds in a big field. He pressed the leaders for until about 1 furlong left, and then he just kind of coasted in is the best way to describe it. He just didn't really finish. First race of the season, he ran 3rd to Pogo in Group 3. My concern with him is the going. He tends to like a little more moisture in the ground, and they're certainly going to be watering the course. So I'm hoping that that's a good sign and that he'll have a chance.
Well, I agree with the verdict down here, Tom. If you look at this racingpost.com, which is where we get this information from, I will also post free international past performances over on the recap at horseracingtoday.net. So make sure you check that out. So if you want to look at the past performances yourself, kind of compliment what we're doing, just completely write off what we're doing and fade exactly and go somewhere else. But the verdict here is sacred to take the win, making it 3 for 3 at 7 furlongs. Well, right now he's 2 for 2 at 7 furlongs, been in the money 9 out of 6. 6 out of 9, excuse me. A little dyslexia kicking in right there. Going to make it second, start off a break, and I think you'll see some improvement off of that horse. And it's been running in nothing but Group 1s and Group 2s. Group 3s, this horse has definitely been facing some solid competition. I expect to see the horse do better. And I think this is the perfect distance for it. At least it's been perfect so far at the distance with the 7 horse for me. My second choice, Tom, is horse number 2, the one that you ended your shot with, Kinross. I like that horse as well. I have him close to the front as well, Kinross. One horse that I expect that should be early up on the pace, has enough gas to get the job done, I feel like, from beginning to end. This one's making its first start off a layoff. And if you look last time out, first time off a layoff, kind of struggled a little bit, but I do expect that you'll see this horse be forwardly placed in a field that languishes, that doesn't really have a lot of true early speed. My third choice is number 8, one that you and I don't agree a lot here. My bomb, Ever Given, the one horse. I think you did say the inside should be all right there, Tom, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Number 8, Ever Given, did run once across the Goodwood track, came home with a W on that. Last time out, the horse did show some improvement. It's been at the distance 3 times at 7 furlongs. collected the biggest check in two of those three, and the third size check in the other one. So clearly is a fan of the oddball distance. And then number 10, Lucille is my final choice, my extra pick that I get for being the host here. Classic horse making its third start off the break, has run at the distance 4 times. The win, a second and a third, collecting a pretty good amount of money relative to everybody else at that distance. Overall, raced 10 times, finishing in the money 8 of those. And when the horse does run well, it typically wins, winning 4 of those 8.
And we should mention that, of course, at this time of year, the 3-year-olds get an allowance against the older horses. And the filly that's in this race gets even a bigger allowance. So we've got both of us have picked 3-year-olds, and that usually equates to half a length.
Well, let's hope it's more than that when they hit the finish line. 1, 2, 3 lengths. It's not easy. It's easy wins, so we don't have to sweat it out, Tom. In a little bit, speaking about allowance, I got about a 45-minute allowance after we hang up here to join Sean tonight for Horse Center. Make sure you tune into that. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern. Our guest this evening is Farron Peterson. Make sure if you have questions for Farron, you can tune in. Hit us up in the comment section. The best way to make sure you don't miss anything that we do tomorrow. I'll be solo for the last day covering Colonial Downs. Back with Tom again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern for day 2 of the Glorious Goodwood. Tonight with Sean. So I'm ubiquitous, and I coined that term. And if anybody takes it, you owe me a little bit of money.
Or a lot of money.
A lot. It depends on how famous it becomes. Yeah, right. Race 3 is the last race we're going to cover. This one is part of the British Championship Series. It is the Goodwood Cup Stakes. In this case, they're going to run 2 miles. They're going to go a long way around that oddly shaped racetrack. So 2 miles. It's going to start here. I'm guessing they're going to go this way because it wouldn't make any sense to go that way. But hey, why does anything have to make sense, Tom?
It doesn't make sense because look where your arrow is.
Right here.
No, the arrow that's on the track.
The arrow, yeah, they're going to. Oh, so they are going to go this way. Oh my Lord. They're going to come back. This turn don't make no sense. It would make more sense if they went that way. All right, but anyway, they drive backwards over there anyway. So why would it shock me? So 2 miles on the Goodwood track. These long races on a surface like this, Tom, as expected, there's really not, in my opinion, a true front runner in here. There's one that might be close to the lead, a bunch that like to really kind of press the leader or patiently, tactical speed, try to finish up at the end. But surprisingly, not a lot of closers in here either. I just got a pair of closers. So I think this is going to be I don't really think it's going to be a hot pace. I think it's going to be a modest pace and should favor horses. Actually, I think it should favor horses that got front end speed, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. What do you think?
I don't see anybody taking him gate to wire. I think that there's enough. It's going to be a jockey's race for sure. They're going to have to set a pace. They set a reasonable pace. Anything can happen. If somebody gets a little hot and goes quicker, then it'll definitely back up and the field will catch it. I don't see anybody running away from this bunch. And these are some veteran, to say the least, horses. And the 2 mile distance is certainly a challenge. It would certainly be a challenge for me to run. I don't know about you, but
I can run 2 miles, believe it or not. Probably take me 30 minutes, but I can do it.
Well, they're going to be going a little quicker than 30 minutes.
I do actually. That's what I do on the treadmill when I do every other night, 2 miles on the treadmill. My knees are pretty roughed up, so I walk with a high incline for 1 mile, then I run the other mile, and then I warm down. So really only running for 1, but I do it for 2. But anyway, Thomas. And one quick thing, I wondered this on Twitter the other day. Tom, have you ever spent much time on a treadmill? But why does 35 minutes or 30 minutes on the treadmill feel like 2 hours instead of like 30 minutes?
Well, my mother used to refer to her treadmill as the dread mill.
Yes.
And I think that's fairly accurate.
I can second that for sure. That dread. All right, Tom. So in the Goodwood Cup Stakes, the British Championship Series race, Class 1 for 3-year-olds. How do you see this one playing out with your 3 picks?
I'm going to take number 2, Coltrane, with draw 3 is my top choice. 13 starts, 5 wins in 4 seconds. He's won his last 2 races, and the last one was an eye-catching, brilliant run. He won by 10 lengths, and it was at this distance. This is one of those, I think, getting better as they get older, and that's usually a lot with the stayers. You see that a lot. Unfortunately, in this country, we don't really have a lot of long races.
Usually they're jumping over stuff when we do have long races.
By then, or they've been retired. Mm-hmm. And but I think that this is a horse where it's really on the improve tremendously. It's only been out of the money once on over a 2-mile race. If I can get 10-1, I'd be really happy. I don't think that horse is going to go off at those odds based on its last race. Mm-hmm. It's a tough field. There's some good horses in here, but I think this is one that's on the improve. And I really be very surprised if this horse is not right there. Mm-hmm. Number 4, I always pronounce it.
Kyprios.
It has draw 8. My next choice. This is a horse that you always like. It has 7 starts and 5 wins.
Well, you know what? I'm going to like him again in a minute.
Yeah, or it's win. It's not going to be anywhere. Won its last 3 races. This includes a listed, a Group 3, and a Group 1 company at Royal Ascot. And he beats some of this field that time, and he looked good doing it. Mm-hmm. He ran mid-pack and then picked it up with about a furlong left, and he did it very nicely. This is a drop back in distance for him, so that'll be interesting to see. The one thing I noted that I saw is anytime he's been on the soft going or on the all weather, he's hated it. When he's been on the good and firm, he's been very good.
Like me at 1 mile.
And I think he'll be the favorite, but I also heard today that number 8, Truchon, is going to be running. Truchon hasn't lost in a long time. He has 18 starts. He has 12 wins in 2 seconds. He generally does not run on good to firm, but for whatever reason, the owner said we're running. And his last race was a gem, all-weather race. He gave a lot of weight up to other horses, and he just beat the one horse, but he was giving over 10 pounds to that horse, and he got up and beat him. And so it was quite a feat. Who's the favorite now? Well, there were a lot of places will say, oh, Truchon wasn't going to run because, and so the odds actually were high. If you bought the odds earlier in the week, or last week, I should say, the odds were like 5-2. They're not going to be 5-2 when it comes to when it gets down to it. And you can see how the odds have drifted a little bit here and there. Yeah, they keep going down. And now that they've declared that he's going to run either way, it'll be very interesting to see what he can do here.
Well, Charles says he likes your 2 horse, Coltrane. He's going to straight up cold exacta 2-6 with Stradivarius. And Miguel, thanks for joining us. See, it's the first time I've seen a comment from you, so make sure you keep showing up, Miguel, and sharing your thoughts with us, man. This is a community. We're all looking for winners, and if you have some good thoughts, bad thoughts, any thoughts, go ahead and put them out there. But he likes Kyprios for me with Ryan Moore, loves that combination. A lot of those owners go where their horses are as a social event. I think a lot of these big races like that are like that, Charles, and I don't think it's just limited to Europe. I think it's when you go to the Kentucky Derby, you got horses that just don't have a shot, and they're running them anyway because they want to be there for the party, right? They want to be there for the Jack Harlow video.
Yeah, or they're they just want the experience. You look at the size of some of these fields. The Kentucky Derby is limited to 20, but look at some of the size of those fields at Royal Ascot. And
huge.
You can have 30 horses, and let's face it. If you had a horse that was not necessarily good enough but could run, wouldn't you want to go to Royal Ascot?
I would want to go to any race, to be honest, if I had a horse, because I remember the old lottery commercials. You got to be in it to win it, right?
Right.
If you're not in it, you ain't got a shot. If you're in it, things could break your way. You might get a good trip. The favorites start bumping around each other, go out and set stupid paces. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. I saw a 2 to 5 today get a horrible trip over at Parks. I know this is not Parks, but nonetheless, and none of those horses there are the quality what we're going to see at the Glorious Goodwood. But I'm going to go with Trushan, Tom. The horse, has done nothing wrong in its last 4 races. Going to make its second start off a layoff. Looking back at its last times, it's made a second start off a layoff. Improved off for the first time off a layoff. As you mentioned, though, Tom, doesn't seem to run that often on a good track. But the last time it ran on a good track, guess what it did, Tom?
It won.
It won. So I think maybe the owners are just being a little bit weird about it. Maybe one of the reasons they're going to run this horse is because he's run 3 times at the distance and won every single one of them. And I think you're going to get 3 horses here that essentially take most of the money. Kyprios is my second choice, as you mentioned, Tom. I think this is the one that might get to the front, not necessarily go fast, but just kind of like hover in front of all the other horses and has the legs to go ahead and finish it off. Been on the turf 7 times, won 5 of them. Seems to run very well when the turf is good, not so well when the turf is soft, but apparently likes heavy. So it's an extreme horse. It's either fast or heavy, nothing in the middle. We're going to get fast tomorrow. My third choice in here is Stradivarius, another high-quality horse, probably better than most. Is lost to Kyprios, is lost to the Trushan as well, so probably sits in here third. Maybe gets discouraged, but maybe the old man puts it together, finds his old form. He's won 8 of 11 at the distance, so it's the right distance for him. Finished third in 2 of them, so that means in 11 races, 10 times on the board, mostly a winner. Only once off the board. So there's the back end of Charles 2-6, ice cold, exacta. And then I'm going to close it out with a bomb. Hopefully this guy shows up in my trifecta, beats one of those 3 horses that's going to take in a lot of money. And that is that one horse up in here, Tom. And away he goes. Horse is going to make its second start off a layoff. The last time the horse ran in a second start off a layoff was at Goodwood. Finished second. You know who had finished second too, Tom?
Stradivarius.
Trushan.
Oh, okay.
It was well beaten second, 3 3/4. But I think being beaten by 3 3/4 in a 20-horse field is not really all that bad. No, I think it was an 8-horse field, but still, only losing by 3 3/4, and everybody else was even further back than that. I think it's a pretty good showing. And at 50 to 1, if somehow he comes home for third because either Stradivarius or Trushan or Kyprios gets discouraged because they're not where they want to be, that's going to really fatten up the exacta in the trifecta or the swinger, Tom. Do they got swingers tomorrow?
Yes, they do. The Omni Swinger is available.
Thank you, Charles. I hope I hit 2. Tomorrow I'm going to try to hit at Colonial Downs. Again, just one horse every day screwing up my picks, Tom, going from just one horse away from making from the top of the card to the bottom of the card with a winner and it's the 3rd day in a row. So I don't mind. If there's two, I'm like, all right, fine. Just kind of maybe read the wrong program today. But when it's just one, I'm surprised I got any hair left. I'm going to be like Terry soon with just a hat on and then nothing else. All right, Tom. So tomorrow, what races
are you going to be topless?
I don't want to do that. I don't think anybody wants to unsee that. So even though I can do 2 miles on the treadmill, it don't look like I do 2 miles on the treadmill. So tomorrow, what races are we covering tomorrow, my friend?
Tomorrow, I'm going to have to pull it up real quick. Let me find it.
All right, let me see.
Well, we have Baid running in the Nashua. Or is it the Sussex? I forget now. I was just working. Yeah, the Sussex. I'm sorry. The Sussex, that'll be the 4th race on the card. Of course, Baid is undefeated at 1 mile. Well, he may continue that. We also have a Group 3 race. That's a nice little race for 5 furlongs. And then we're going to cover a fillies mares race. It's also a Group 3. That'll be also going at 7 furlongs. So an interesting group of races. And I would also encourage anybody. This is for Glorious Goodwood. This is one of the larger cards on Tuesday. And there are some packed fields, as there normally are. And if you really want a challenge, Let's play that maiden race with 18 maidens, including a bunch that haven't run yet.
Man, I would just box all the ones that haven't run and hope you get 2 shots in there at a decent price and you can get paid big time, right? Good luck to you as well, Charles, tomorrow.
That's definitely going to play.
Mm-hmm. So tomorrow we'll be back for that. In a little bit, I'll be back again with Sean in about 1 hour. So at 8 p.m., so 54 minutes from now, Sean and I will be back with jockey Farron Peterson. You're going to want to see that for sure. Again, you can join us in the comments section. If you like what Tom and I did today and you don't want to miss tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday with Tom and I, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. If you like what you saw, thumbs ups would be appreciated. Same thing goes over at Facebook. Like us, follow us, retweet us on Twitter. And I don't know what you do on Instagram. Just look at pictures, I guess. I don't know. That's the kind of books I like to read in high school, the one with a lot of pictures. And then you can see all of those in the scroll bar down there at Horse Race, the number 2 day. That's our handle for all the social sites. Till we get back again tomorrow, Tom, what do we hope everybody does?
Oh, you better end up in the winner's circle because there are going to be some few nice prices. Always like those races with 5-1 favorites.
Those are my favorites as well. As Tom said, good luck with no matter where you're playing tonight. We do hope that your night, your day, and everything that you do ends up in the winner's circle. Until we meet next time, have a fantastic Manic Monday. Got to make sure I press the right button to get out of here.